Hello, Klaus here, and welcome back to yet another video here at the channel. In today's video, we are going to recreate one of the effects from Playing with Time from Macro Room. And this is a very popular video on YouTube. It has actually gone viral, and there's a reason for that, because this effect, Playing with Time, is just fantastic. So in this video, I'll show you how to do one of the effects using only Davinci Resolve 17. So let's get right to that in just one bit. If you are new to this channel and want to learn Davinci Resolve filmmaking tips and tricks and want to have a look at some pretty cool gear, I would recommend you to subscribe. And if you want to support the channel even more, you could push the join button down below and become a member of the channel. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get right to it. I'll show you the process of doing this effect right now, so let's get to it. Let's go.
Okay, so let's get started. The first thing you actually do need for this thing is actually to do something prepared. So you need to do a photo of the cookie being dropped down in the milk, and in this case I used my GH4 and I just did a burst, so I took a lot of shots, and that's what you need to do. You need to have this splash, so you're going to get the splash so you can show that on your phone when you do the initial recording. You also need to have two different shots to do the effect. The first shot is a shot of you dropping the cookie down in an empty cup, and the other one is you dropping the cookie into the milk where you are out of frame, black background or something like that. And then also you need to record in a lot of frames, as many frames as possible. For my video here, I am recording at 120 frames a second on my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 4K. So ideally, I would love to have recorded this in 250 frames, but I couldn't do that on the pocket camera. So I'm doing this in 120 frames. So let's get right to the editing part. So first off, we are going to use a lot of video tracks for this, because we're going to do this all inside of the editing tab and the color tab. So let's start by right-clicking over here, and I'm going to add in tracks, and let's say I'm going to add 6 tracks and no audio, add tracks. Okay, so on the first video track, I need to take my main clip I'm going to use. So I'm going to take my main clip here, and I'm going to drag this clip down on video track 1. And now this is, of course, a shot in slow-mo. And I need to speed this up to real speed. So the way I could do that would be to go into the inspector, and I'll go down to speed change here, and I'm going to change this because of the frames I shot per second. Roughly that is 6 times faster, so that should be normal speed. And I'm just going to push. So let's see if this is a normal speed. Looks pretty normal. I'm going to make the clip short here. For the next thing, I actually need to do a clean plate of myself here. So I'm going to copy paste my main clip here, and I'm going to put that on track 4. And it's super important that this is going to be on track 4. Then I'm going to scrub through my clip here, because I need this to be wherever I let go of my cookie, and I do that around here. I'm going to make sure that this is where I have my cut. Then I'm going to move 1 frame back. I'm going to move my clip 1 frame back. And I'm going to do this because I want to do a mask over this thing, but me being a frame further back, I can actually cover up my face. So let's get right into that. And I need this clip to be from I drop the cookie till it hits. So it's not a very long clip. I'm just quickly going to make a cut here, and I'm just going to delete the rest. And a good thing to do, because we're going to have many layers, is actually to color your clips. So you can do that by right-clicking and going into the color, and I'm going to make this like orange, so I know that this is track 4. Now I'll go into the color page. And also a thing to keep in mind when doing this effect. It is actually a pretty good idea if all of your clips is graded before. So in here I have a grade, it's in my gallery, and I'm just going to apply that to both of my clips. So I'm just going to right click and apply grade on both clips like that. And then I'll go in here and I'm going to make my clean plate here. So I'll go into the tracker here and I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to draw a square or whatever around the cookie, something like that. So the way Resolve works, now I've done, of course, my mask, but I need to add in an alpha channel. And in Resolve, you do that, or at least in the color page, you do that here, and you're going to right click and you're going to add an alpha out. And then you're just going to connect this to the blue dot. And here we have that. Let's go into the color itself here. Let's go into the tracker, and in the tracker I'm going to change this to frame. I'm going to, so the idea is to remove the cookie here, okay? So I'm just going to put this around here and I'm going to put in a keyframe, and then I'm just going to go forward with the arrow. So the idea is to remove the cookie. So there we go. Wait. And remove the cookie. So, and of course now the clip is not long enough. So I need to go back to the editing page here and make sure that my clip is actually long enough. I just need to make it a frame longer. Back to the editing. And let's go into this keyframe here and we're going to key out the cookie, go one frame, and here we're also going to key out the cookie. You can see it's right there. So I'm just going to remove this down here. So that's the thing. The cookie disappeared magically, like that, just like I wanted it to. However, we still do need to have a cookie, because even though we made a clean plate, we need to have a cookie running in slow motion. And to do that, we are simply going to take our track here, or this main clip yet again, and we're going to copy paste that up to track number 5. So I'm just going to push Alt and drag. I'm putting this on track 5. And for this, we need to find the spot where I am letting go of the cookie around there. And we're just going to trim this so it fits. Yeah. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go into the change speed. And instead of running this in 600, I'm going to slow this down as much as possible before it gets too ugly. So I'm going to change this to 50. And then I'm just going to push change. And now I want like that. So here we have a slow motion clip of the cookie. I'm just going to make sure that that it fits. So if I push down the opacity, so you can play around a little bit with this also where it's supposed to be. I think that's going to fit. Okay, so I'm just going to bump up the opacity again. And now I need to go into the color page and I'm going to select my video track 5. And again, I'm going to make a alpha out. I'm going to connect this so I only have my alpha channel. I'm going to go way back to the beginning of this slow-mo clip. I'll go into my masks and I'm going to mask around the cookie like so. Alternative, you're going to mask around the cookie at least. And then there's the method you could do. There's actually two ways you could do this. You could do this if you use the magic mask. I think you should be able to get a pretty okay result using that. But however, if you do not have the studio version of Davinci Resolve, that is not going to work. There's only one way of doing this, and that is with masking. So doing the mask, going into the tracker, and again push frame, add in a keyframe, move along, and just continue doing this all the way down so you have a clean cookie. I'm going to spare you the time, and I'm going to do this now, and then I'll be back when I've done that. So after masking, you should have a result something like this, and of course you could do a better job than I did, but just for this, that's going to be fine. So if you have done everything correct by now, this is the result you're supposed to have. So let's continue. So the next thing you need to do is we need to go into our footage here, and I want to have this milk splash I have right here, and I've made in and out point. I need this clip here, so I'm going to add that in here. As a matter of fact, I don't need all of the clip because I just need to have this little clip here. So let's say I can make this into a photo, just going into the speed change, and I'm just going to push this icon here. So I'm going to make this into a still frame, and I'm just going to make this, so let's say around here. I think that is when it should splash. So I'm just going to do this, and as a matter of fact, I can move this up to video track number 3. I put it on 2, but it needs to be on 3. So now we have a very strange thing going on here. Of course, we need to go into the color tab yet again, select this clip. We're going to give it again our grade. And what I need actually here is I just need to mask out the cup here. And I'm just going to do that pretty fast. And it shouldn't be all of the cup, but you can. So we're just doing a pretty rough mask here. And then we could change it up like in 1 second. I'm going to add in a mask more here, like that. So it should be pretty close to everything like that. I'm going to add in another mask. I'm just going to put in a curve some more, because I also need to mask out this part here. Of course, if you put the cup the other way so you don't see this, this would go a little bit faster. So what I need to do now is I can go in here in the softness of everything. In fact, if I push right here, I can see what I'm doing. This is what I've masked. However, I need to push this button right here and push right here to make this blue element here, something like that. Now it should be good, and we're going to right click, and yet again we are going to add in alpha out, and we're going to connect that. And then of course I just need to change this around, pushing this button. So I'm going to copy the right parts, and then I can go in and change my mask around, and I can use the softness and put in masks like this and make it look pretty good. Okay, so now we have this, and of course, as you see, there's a little problem in my thing, and this is just a pro tip. When you're doing this, please use a bigger cup and a smaller cake, because as you see, I'm making this bump here, but I'm going to fix that a little bit later. But for now, we're just going to continue. Okay, so we're going to add in yet again our milk splash, and I'm going to take the exact same clip we had right here. We're going to add that in. However, we want this to go from the cookie actually splashes this. So I'm just going to correct this, and I'm going to put this up on video track 6. And then we're just going to round here, I think. So it should splash around here. So we're going to put our splash in here. What I am going to do for this particular thing is I'm going to go into the composite mode, and I'm going to change this from normal to lighten. And that's because I want to remove the black background and overlay that on top. So let's continue again into the color tab here. And in the color tab, we're going to select this clip. Again, I'm going to apply my grade. And what we need for this particular shot is we just need to do a mask, which is kind of simple. So we're just going to do, and it doesn't have to be very fantastic or anything. We just need to roughly cut out all of the black. And also I want to remove my hand from here. Like that. Like that. And then we're just going to add in yet again a alpha out. And voila, like that. Let's go into the editing page here yet again. There we go. So what I want actually to add in here is that it should start out being in slow motion, of course. So yet again, I'm going to push Control R. So I'm going to get my slow-mo here, and I'm going to change my speed to 50%. Which making this slow-mo like that. And then I'm going to push the arrow here. I'm going to add in a speed point, and now I'm going to change the speed to, let's say, we're going to change it to 400. So we're going to make this very fast, and then it'll go back to normal speed. And then I need to make my clip longer to the end, so it will actually stay there. So now we have this freezing of time and then going to a normal speed. There we go. Then again, I had this thing here with the cup making this movement, and the way I actually just fixed that was I took a still frame from the main clip and masked that for the particular frame that happened, because it's actually happening before the slow motion cookie gets there. It's from the original cookie. So I just did a frame of the main clip and mask around and put that on top of everything on video track 7, because it's before we see any of the other things. Last thing to do is to add in the flash, because I didn't take a picture, and we're trying to sell the effect here. So first off, we'll go in here and let's say I'm going to take the photo here. So the way I would do this is I'm simply going to make a cut. I'm going to select this clip and I'll go up to the effects library, and then I'll just go in and I'll take a lens flare and I'm going to add in a lens flare. I'll go into my effects and I'm just going to use the default lens flare. And then I'll change the position of my lens flare, like a little bit, like it should be around here. Something like that. Then I'll go into my global corrections, and I can scale this down a bit so it's not too crazy. And I can also zoom in a bit so I can change the position here of the lens flare a little bit to do something like that. I can also put in the global scale thing a little smaller, and I can use the brightness of the clip here. I can take that down a bit as well. And what I want to do now is I'm just simply going to add in the global blends. I'm going to add in a keyframe, and then I'm just going to use the arrow keys and move 2 frames forward. And I'm just going to bump this down to 0. So now we have a flash effect. So with everything changed, put in a little bit of sound design, and this is the final result. So I do hope you found this video useful. If you did, please hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, share it with your friends if you think it would help them out, and if you want to be notified every time there's a new video on this channel, please hit that bell icon down in the corner. Until next time, keep filming, keep learning, and keep sharing.